Alright, this is yet another video on Wonder Woman, and it shows you why Wonder Woman is not bisexual and is not a lesbian, okay? And I want to do it because I want to go through the comics themselves and prove this point by showing you Wonder Woman's lovers. That's right, Wonder Woman had lovers. So, if Wonder Woman has lovers, then it means if they are female, then it means she's either bi or gay. If they're male, then it means she's not bi or gay, and it is that she is actually straight, right? So you can go to Comics Alliance online and get this information. This is where I'm just pulling it off of, okay? Now, when we look at Wonder Woman, her first love interest that we know of is Steve Trevor. And she encountered Steve Trevor, the first man she's ever encountered, on the island of Themyscira when his ship crashes into the island and he's washed up on shore. And she has to defend and save his life. She falls in love with him. She leaves Themyscira and goes on these adventures in the world with Steve Trevor and works together with the leaders of the world and Steve Trevor to bring forth justice, equity, and to spread love. But Steve Trevor is not the only love interest of Wonder Woman. In the episodes Aquaman 1995, Annual Number 1, written by Peter David, Wonder Woman has a sort of romantic relationship with Aquaman. And in 1997, the JLA, by Grant Morrison and Howard Peter, Wonder Woman is recruited. She serves to recruit Aquaman. Aquaman confesses that he really is interested in Wonder Woman. That's why he came to the JLA. You also see this in the 1998 Justice League Giant Number 1, written by Christopher Priest. Anyways, moving on. We have another character, this character here, whose name is Trevor Barnes. And he was a love interest of Wonder Woman for a period of time. Now, Trevor Barnes was a black man, and you can see he had dreadlocks here, and he worked in the United Nations just as Wonder Woman did. This was in the 2000s this story was written. Unfortunately for him, in the series, he actually died. And so, while he was... by the way, the person who wrote this one was Jimenez. He died, and as a result of that, Greg Rucka was the guy that wrote the rest of the Wonder Woman comics. And Greg Rucka is the one who was saying that Wonder Woman was always bisexual, which doesn't make sense, does not fit canon, like I showed you guys from the mythos. And it is what it is. Now, when you go to the next person that Wonder Woman was romantically interested in, which fans really liked and dug, was Batman. Batman, in the story The Obsidian Age, showed to have some sort of relationship with Wonder Woman, and they kissed one another in that story. And eventually she found out about Batman and his real interest in her, using Martian Manhunter's technology to read minds. And that run went from 2001 to 2006 in the animated series Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, where Wonder Woman did have a relationship with Bruce Wayne, aka Batman. They talk about Nemesis. It wasn't a serious relationship, but it was still comical. And Nemesis, aka Alan Heinberg, he was attracted to Wonder Woman. Sorry, that's the writer. Tom Dresser, he was also known as Nemesis. He was attracted to Wonder Woman, and they had a sort of interesting sort of relationship, but she wasn't really interested in Tom Dresser, so that one doesn't count. The next and the last one is Superman. Wonder Woman and Superman. And in many comics, the Superman Wonder Woman series, Diana and Kal-El, they have a relationship as well. But there are a number of other comics. Superman Distant Fires by Howard Chaykin, Gil Kane, and Kevin Nolan. There is The Dark Knight Strikes Again, which is Frank Miller's Batman comic. There is also, like I said, the Superman Wonder Woman series. There's also From Kingdom Come, graphic novel by Mark Waid and Alex Russ. You also have Wonder Woman and Superman coupling together, and they also make children. And of course, Lois Lane was killed by the Joker in that universe. Kind of reminds me of Injustice universe, except Superman does not go berserk. And so these are the various love interests of Diana or Wonder Woman. As you can see, all of them are men and all of them are male. And this just reinforces the point that Princess Diana is not a bisexual. She is not a lesbian. She is not gay. And for those people who keep on saying that she is and pushing this LGBT agenda, which I find just distasteful at this point in time. I don't have a problem with you pushing an LGBT agenda for a comic book character that actually has gay roots, has lesbian or homosexual or bisexual roots. But the comic book character for Wonder Woman has clearly and plainly shown that she does not have those roots. Okay, Wonder Woman doesn't have those roots from canon. This is why I have a problem with Greg Rucka's statement, and I believe a lot of fans have a problem with Greg Rucka's statement. Okay, it's not based in any kind of fact. And that's why you got the outrage when Greg Rucka said what he said. Now, if you said Harley Quinn, The Flash, even Barry Allen, because Barry Allen never really shows that he has any love interests in his canon. Okay, you know, there are characters like Midnighter, right? Who he's openly gay. Okay, he's gay. He's with men and all of that. Okay, you have many other comic book characters who have an established history of being gay or bisexual. Nobody would have a problem with it because it's established that they are so. See, you can't just be going changing a lore. I mean, if it's a Elseworld something, sure, fine, no problem. All right, Grant Morrison, Earth One, Wonder Woman, Themyscira, the woman there is kind of implied that they have some kind of lesbianish like relationship. We're not too sure, but it seems so. It's possible. And then Wonder Woman talks about her lovers, like Mala, her sister, and stuff like that. Okay, fine. I don't have a problem with that. Because it's an Elseworld comic. And, quite frankly, in an Elseworld comic, you can do those things. And nobody's going to be mad at you. Because it's a variation on the theme. Alright? Joker. Just very recently, Joker has been shown in Suicide Squad as bisexual. You can clearly see he's bisexual. Okay, that makes sense because Joker, his philosophy is there are no rules. He's crazy, and he wants to show people how crazy he is, and he does not care. And that doesn't pass by me. That doesn't sound like something that the Joker wouldn't do. Makes it more threatening, makes it more scary. Not that he needs to be threatening and scary, but he doesn't have any rules. Harley Quinn has been established as bisexual. She's not necessarily a bad person, yet she will kill you on the drop of a dime if she feels like it. Again, she's kind of a lovable character. And so it's not that we're against someone or character being LGBT or bisexual or gay. It's that it's not established that they were. And once you can, with Wonder Woman, that's kind of sacrilege to have people believe she's this one thing throughout canon, and then all of a sudden you decide to flip the switch and make her something that obviously most fans don't think of her as. All right. In fact, most people will think it's perverted and it's demented that someone would think that and try to force a character into something else that character is not. And for some other people, they'll be like, "What's the big deal? She's bi, she's gay." No, it's a big deal because the canon never supported that she was bi or gay. You're now introducing something new, and you're not saying that this is something new we're doing. It's a new spin on Wonder Woman. No, you're saying that canon supports you. That's where we have a problem, because canon doesn't support you. Okay, the mythos itself doesn't support you. Okay, if you say she's a feminist, we have to agree with that, because that's basically what Diana is. She's absolutely a feminist. Absolutely. There is no denial of that. But when you come and say that she's a lesbian, and there's nothing in canon to support that. There's nothing in her mythos to support that. You are taking you're doing an interpolation, you're doing extraction, and you're saying because she was in an all-female society and she didn't know about men, we are interpolating that she had to be a lesbian or involved in lesbian practices. And then when she met men, she became bisexual. If that is the case, then Diana would have girlfriends and boyfriends prominent in the canon, prominent in her canon. And there's no such case. She doesn't have that. If you're going to argue that she's bisexual, you have to make a case that she was doing homosexual practices in Themyscira, and she never abandoned them. She turned to men. Otherwise, she's still heterosexual. Even if she has done lesbian practices in Themyscira, if she comes out and starts having relationships only with men, then she was always hetero. See, it's very hard to argue that point that she's bisexual. It's hard because you have to show that she currently has relationships with either sex. And Diana has never said those things. She's never shown those things. You're trying to extract what isn't there. You're trying to assume what is not there. That's the only way you're going to make that point. Because in the comics, if someone is bisexual in the comics, then it is shown. You have to show it. All right? Even if they're closet bisexual, there will be signs. You will see them in relationships with people that show that. That's not the case with Diana, and most people who read the comics know this. So the people who are saying, "Oh, it's obvious, it's in the comics," and so which comics? Which ones? Point them out. Issue and book so I can go read them. And maybe I missed something. So teach me. I'm willing to learn. But as far as I see from the comics, and as far as people from the comics who have scouted the comics have seen, she hasn't had love interests. She's not been romantically involved with any woman. Ever. As far as I know. Okay? So, until you can find that for me, and don't give me Elseworld stuff, even though I've done some Elseworld stuff here, then I can't say she's bisexual. I just can't. And I can't receive it. Alright? So, I just wanted to leave that with you guys. Of course, feel free to comment on your views of Wonder Woman. I've had some discussions with other people. I know some people come from a LGBT background, or they are accepting of the LGBT community. And I understand that. And let me just make it abundantly clear, I have nothing against the LGBT community as a community, as a set of people. Okay? I have nothing against them. Let me just make it abundantly clear. It's just that if you're going to say something, make sure you have your facts together. Okay? That's all I'm saying. Alright? When you talk about Wonder Woman, when you talk about any comic book character, just have your facts lined up. If you can show me from facts that, she's bisexual, then I'm going to back down on my case. But you haven't shown me any facts to support that. Okay? And if you're going to run an agenda, everybody has an agenda in this world. If you're going to run an agenda, Okay, if you're going to say, that Wonder Woman, she's gay, and because the gay rights community has embraced Wonder Woman a long time ago, and they embraced her, and you want to show that embrace is not just superficial, but Wonder Woman is actually one of them. If you want to show that, then you have to go ahead, right? Because Wonder Woman has never acknowledged herself as LGBT, and people say, well, there's no such thing. There was no such concept of gay and bisexual in her world. It doesn't matter. My point is this, that the writer of Wonder Woman never acknowledged her as LGBT. The writer of Wonder Woman had her have an extensive relationship with a man as her love interest. And it makes sense to me because Wonder Woman is showing that she embraces, accepts mankind, unlike her mother Hippolyta, who feels that mankind was oppressive to herself. So I get it. And I think Wonder Woman has a more balanced view of the world than does her mother. Okay? And it makes sense. All right? So, again, you have to understand that Wonder Woman is primarily about feminism. It's primarily about balancing the scales, like the Statue of Liberty, which is also based off of Diana. Okay? Diana is actually one of those Greek gods which is based off of Ashtar. Okay, Diana is like Esther. Esther was the savior of Israel in Persia. Just so you guys understand, the Persian name was Esther or Ashtar. Her actual name was Manasseh. So you have to understand that Hadassah was her Hebrew name, but her Persian name was Ashtar. And I want you guys to understand something. We've had strong women leaders, whether you're a Christian or not. You go read the Bible. There's strong women leaders who run countries. Okay, Ashtar was one of them. So it's not strange to me that Diana would represent that. But what you guys have to understand is that Diana is against oppression of any kind. You go read any Wonder Woman comic. This is the essence of... I'm giving you the essence of these comic book characters. Superman is all about hope. He's all about lifting mankind so that they can be better than they were before. And he's all about justice and the American way, as it said. Okay? Diana comes from a different front where she is the one to help the oppressed. She balances the scales and she brings about equity. That's the primary purpose of Diana. Diana is not discriminatory against any group which is being oppressed. She's about balancing the scales, like the Statue of Liberty, like the Lady Justice, which is found in Washington, D.C. Her eyes are blind. She's blind to your sex, your gender, whatever separates you and discriminates you. She's blind to that so that she can balance the scales. You guys must understand, this comic book character goes beyond the comic books. That this character is all around you. The mythos is all around you. When we think of wisdom, wisdom is not epitomized as a man, but wisdom is actually personified as a woman. And there's a reason why wisdom is a woman and not a man. Because women have the propensity to empathize more than men do. Men never have children. Men never are attached to their young ones in such a way that they would give their lives for them in ways and means. They would go to extents and lengths beyond which normal human beings will not go. And that's because when you have children, when you have actually born a child, you have an attachment to them beyond the measure of just physical attachment. You have mental attachments to them. You can see what's happening to them if they're in trouble, etc. This is wisdom. Wisdom is beyond just... Wisdom is known as Sophie. Sophie is a female name, not a male name. right? There's a power with a mother and her child that is beyond physical power. Okay? This is why the woman, as a symbol of justice, is a much more powerful symbol than a man. Because men use might and power to bring about justice. Women use love, compassion, empathy, sympathy to bring about the balancing of the scales. And the scales are balanced very, very well. Okay? This is why Wonder Woman trumps Superman and Batman in that respect. And she brings a dimension that the other superheroes cannot bring to the table. So for those of you who do not understand Wonder Woman, I'm trying to explain her to you because it's not just comic book lore, it's also the mythos, and it's the idea. It's the idea that needs to go into everyone's mind of love and compassion, empathy, putting yourself in someone else's shoes and fighting for them as if you are they. In Christian rhetoric, you pray as if it is you on the line. We call it intercession. Whether you're a Buddhist, whether you're a Hindu, whether you're a Muslim, all of the religious practices, and even an atheist, the ideology is still the same. Do unto others as you would like them to do unto you. The ideology is very simple. Put yourself in another person's shoes if you can for a day to understand what that other person goes through. That's why I don't hate the LGBT community. I try to put myself in the shoes of someone who would be in that community. To see how people revile you and see you as less of a human being because of things you do or things you gravitate towards. And I can say they're no less a human than myself. They don't do anything worse than I would have done. Or better. Because we're human. And so I hope that this helps people, because I try to go deep with my videos and I try to go based on facts. And Wonder Woman's a wonderful character to epitomize certain qualities. And some people will say, "Oh, it's demigod worship, and these are all pagan gods coming to the scene." Some Christians would say that. For me, I see qualities and attributes. And if the world at least can see these qualities and attributes, maybe it'll help them move in the right direction. Not everybody believes in the Bible. Not everybody is Christian. Not everybody is religious. Not everybody is spiritual. But if we can get people to see these qualities, maybe, who knows? Maybe they'll want more. See, that's all I'm saying. That's why I think that if you want to push an agenda, at least know the story properly. At least know the mythos properly. Otherwise, you're going to clash with it. On that note, you guys have a great one.